Hello, everyone, and welcome back to that Eurovision site, Eurovision with a Slice of Life. I'm Angus, still using he, him pronouns, and today I'm joined by,
I'm Shiloh, one third of bisexual court.
and today, two-thirds of Bisexual Court is in session to talk about the one and only selection that is Söngvakeppnin, Iceland's national final for Eurovision. So let's just start off very simply with what are your general thoughts on Söngvakeppnin 2025?
It's I want so badly for Iceland to do well every year. And they do not always make good choices. They do not always make good choices. And this year is a little I mean there is not really anything that is straight up bad, but it is it is aggressively mediocre.
It's all inspiring selection of songs.
No.
I think that's a fair way of putting it. So, d despite being, well, not a packed field, what are your favorites or standouts from the 10 songs competing?
Well, I think Bia's song, the ballad is good. I think it's a solid ballad. It is, for the thing that it is well done. Is it groundbreaking? No. Is it a nice song? Yes. I do also think that Eldur could be, or Fire, I think is the English translation, could be a good choice. It is a little bit a party song from 10 years ago, but there are ways that they could pull that off without making it seem really dated and just have it be fun. So I think that would probably be, personally, I think that that's their best shot. What about you?
Yeah. Um, yeah, Bia is my second place. Really like Nocturne Lost, Northern Lights. She has a lovely voice, sings it well. The other ballad by numbers, Tina with words, also works for me, but with a ballad, either clicks or doesn't. That one happens to click with me. Can I explain it? Not for the life of me. It just does. That one does suck in English, if I'm not mistaken. Like in Icelandic, it's much better, but that's true for a
Oh,
bunch
dude,
of
I
these
have not
songs.
listened to the English versions.
Um, Yeah, with how they've been sent in, we can guesstimate that everyone except Veb and Bjarni Arason are going to be singing in English in the final. Because
Yeah.
for those who don't know, in Iceland, in the semi-finals, you have to sing in Icelandic, and then in the final, it's a free-for-all. And what typically happens then is that artists release that song both in English and in Icelandic because are going to be singing in both languages. And everyone except Veb and Bjarni this year have released the English language version of their song. I was thinking Vape was going to be like the fan favorite, just because
Well, there are
been there
some people who really
before.
like it.
Yes, but for what I've got, like for example, over Eurovision place, the top rank song is Storm Chaser by Burgo, which
Okay.
sure maybe that's also just because there's a weak field, so everything's a bit all over the place, and it's
I
just something
think
that's
that I think the like mega high note is attractive to people. It is not it does not work in context for me personally. That's fine. I think that for some people that just really does it for them.
absolutely, and in general, just when everything's a bit middle of the pack, having one thing that stands out can really help. I think that's also the case here then. Yeah, over at Eurovision place, second place is Bia, and the third are Vabe, actually. But yeah, I don't know. I expected them to be higher up. I don't dislike the song as much as I thought I would.
There are
Vabe.
parts there are what I remember it is that like I thought the chorus was really fun, and then the verses, and I was sort of like, okay, so we are doing Caria again. That
Yeah.
is fine.
And it's
It's
still
not
the
like every other country on the planet is doing Caria right now.
and it's still the most unique song in this national selection. Which I'm
Yeah.
sorry to say. I'm sorry to say it. It's just not ideal, is it? But you mentioned it a little bit before about how you think Iceland might do, or at least what song you think they'll do best with. How do you think Iceland will do in Eurovision this year? Will they get back to the final?
Iceland, the thing about Iceland recently, like just in context, like they've just really flagged and their entries are very rarely bad, but they are often forgettable, which is worse. And like I don't know, I just like we had Daði Freyr get fourth um like 4 years ago now. And a lot of the times when a country gets sort of an unexpected high result, or even an expected high result in this case, because we were going off of hype from 2020, like it really pushes them to like kind of do better. We've discussed this on the YouTube before in terms of like Cyprus and how much effort Cyprus has put into stuff since Eleni Ferreira. But Iceland it seems they have really not done that, or at least they have sort of a misguided idea of what does well or why Daði Freyr did well. And I'm gonna be so honest dead to rights here. I was just in the bathroom brushing my hair, staring at myself in the mirror and thinking, what did Iceland even send in 2024? And I still don't remember. And I mean, even last year, like people were talking about Wild West being like a really strong contender, and I was like, it was a strong contender for like optics reasons, but in terms of the song itself, I was sort of like, this is fine. And this is just more of the same from Iceland this year. Like, it's fine. It's aggressively really fine, and maybe they can spin that into a way that has like mass market appeal, depending on what they pick, and it's good and it gets some jury points and they get like 17th in the final or something. But I do think that that is like the best case scenario. The
Yeah,
absolute best case scenario.
that takes qualifying to the final,
Hmm.
which I don't really see any of these songs doing. Now, yeah, I do think Iceland, like Roof, is struggling with two separate things. Or there are two specific things that make, especially also this year's lineup, so weak. One of which I don't know how much in detail I should go because YouTube and all those kind of things. But a lot of Icelandic songwriters were pretty upset about Iceland still being in Eurovision.
Oh,
So I can imagine that a lot of people just didn't send something in this year. There were rumblings that something along those lines already happened last year,
that hadn't
which
even
is
occurred to
which
me.
is why we have that change. The other thing, which is also why Scared of Heights won to mixed reviews, I shall say, was the old format, which admittedly Roof have changed for this year. So quick refresh for everyone. And instead of 5 songs in the final, one of which is a jury wildcard, we just straight up get 6 songs in the final, so 3 songs from each semi-qualify. And the super final is gone, and everybody cheered. But what are your thoughts about the format change?
I mean, the super final last year made a lot of people mad, so at the end of the day, the point of all of this is to put on television that people are going to watch. And the format change after last year was, I think, necessary in order to keep people watching the show. So it like they did what they had to do. I don't know if it's gonna really help them looking at this year's songs. I feel so bad saying this because I do want to root for them, but this year I cannot do that.
You just cannot. Just
No, I can't.
cool. Yeah,
Like it would have to take some like just a really comical, horrible series of failures in a lot of different countries for me to like have Iceland in my top 10.
Iceland can maybe do something if they somehow pull out a great staging, but unless I'm missing something, and I will admit I'm not overly familiar with the Icelandic music scene and everything else they do because Iceland, a lot of people overlap in the different like forms of art they do and also where they do it. But as far as I'm aware, there's not really like a massive like graphic designer or choreographer or something like that involved in any of this at the moment. So I don't. For example, Daddy Fair had a very specific visual identity he wanted to bring to the stage, and that really helped make his entries work and make him stick out all that. And that is just Hatari, the same thing, because they just have that visual identity. So the band provided that. I'm not sure how much Ruv as a broadcaster is able to do that and how much they depend on the artist, and I feel they depend
I
on the
feel like they
artist.
depend on the artist a lot.
And
I
none of these
mean,
give me confidence on
no.
with that. But yeah, after that minor ramble about the format change, and just everything else around it. Do you have anything else that you want to say?
Just just please God, get your act together, guys. I want you to be good so bad.
Look, it's okay to sit a year out and pull a Portugal and then just come back with a fully revamped format for your national final and figure it all out and try to make it work. But, like, I think Iceland has a lot going for it. They have a great music industry, and at the moment, there's just a clear divide between that music industry and at least the way Ruv is approaching Eurovision, maybe also Eurovision in general. And
Yeah.
if somehow that divide can be bridged or shrank or whatever they want to do, I think it will help Iceland to no end, and that will also make just Eurovision better because we'll get more good songs.
Hmm.
Yeah, on that note, thank you everyone for watching and listening to this little pre-Söngvakeppnin discussion. Who are your favorites? Who are your least favorites? Anything you want to comment. Just help the algorithm a bit. Comment, like, subscribe, hit the notification bell to be the first to see interviews from Söngvakeppnin artists, our post-discussion of Söngvakeppnin, discussions about other national finals, interviews of other national finals, and a ton more different videos that will be coming out very regularly because Eurovision National Final is here and it is packed. Good Lord, is it
Oh
packed?
boy, is it. I have said several times that I will have to send our head of video editing like a gift basket when this is all done. I'm not sure how
Absolutely.
the international shipping works, but I feel like I'm probably gonna have to find a way.
If you want to keep up with all the Eurovision news, go to our website, that eurovisionsite.com. If all of it just becomes too overwhelming, here on YouTube we do at the moment bi-weekly, soon weekly Eurovision news roundup that where we will bring you all the biggest headlines. And you can also just follow us on social media. We're at that Eurosite basically everywhere. And you just get those posts straight on your timeline and you can just follow all the latest and greatest Eurovision news. This will also go out as a podcast, most likely. If you listen to us as a podcast or you want to follow us as a podcast, you can find us wherever you find your podcasts. You can also find us wherever you get your social media fix at that Euro podcast. And you can also listen to us on our website, which we always love. We love some extra engagement on wherever you want to find us. On that note, once again, thank you for listening and goodbye.